But what if you guys are both into art, both into paintings, but the specific painting, let's say like the wife really like the straight line or like splash of color, but then you might think like, it's just a straight line, I can also draw one straight line for you.
I have that experience as well, right? Because I like something and my wife like another thing, right? But there's so many artists, so many work in the market, right? That you'll be able to find a painting with line and circle. And then you will have the best of both worlds inside there. And then somehow you both like together.
The next question I have is that, okay, let's say we do put out the art. Not everybody will appreciate it,
Yes.
right? Because everybody's taste is a little bit different.
Yes.
So what happens when, let's say, I want to support art?
Yeah.
Okay, like then the wife, right? Financially, right, once we are together, it is a joint account. There is still my own fund, but unless I'm like CEO Jeff Bezos, I can just throw a couple, right? I can't, ma. So how do I go about convincing people that are close to me that what I'm doing is not burning money?
We see a lot of these kind of husband and wife conflict, not just on purchasing of art. It's everything. Even the color of the toilet, the color of the rooms, right? Everything is, there's a certain disagreement because of the different upbringing, different exposure you have, different friend group you have, right? So I think at the end of the day, right, is that do things together, right? If you do things together, you'll more or less understand each other trade-off. Then over time, if you really like something, right, you die must have it. You'll try to compromise, right? Because it's either you have it a compromise form or you have nothing. Correct. Yeah, so I think that's the best advice that I can give. If someone come to me and say that my wife don't like art, then I say that then you have to go bring her more often to different gallery, different exhibition, then find out what she like, and then discover what she like. Is it something close to you, of what you like? Now I'm sure there is something that y'all can both love it.
But what if, right, like let's say, cause the first example is like maybe the wife not like very into art, but what if you guys are both into art, both into paintings, but the specific painting, let's say like the wife really like the straight line or like splash of color, but then you might think like, it's just a straight line, I can also draw one straight line for you.
So that I think there's enough artists. I have that experience as well, right? Because I like something and my wife like another thing, right? But there's so many artists, so many work in the market, right? That you'll be able to find a painting with line and circles.
You're right.
Yeah,
yes,
and then you
yes.
will have the best of both worlds inside there.
Okay.
And then somehow you both like together.
Okay.
So it's the total possibility. So like when I first, when every couple when they first married, right, then they will have some conflict because you don't know that each other have certain habits, right? It's very unnatural, right? But you learn how to live with it. Yeah. So it's the same thing. So basically, more exposure, and you are sure to find something you like.
So for yourself, do you like set aside like a fund, play money or like fund for collecting art every month, for example?
Yeah, so for me, I don't call it every month. So annually, we have we project certain returns from our investment, including the property itself, right? So it's a total asset thing, right? So you have a certain return from investment, then you have your income as well. So you basically have an annual budget. And then from the annual budget, we allocate it. So we don't I'm not saying that, I got 50,000 every year. I just spend the 50,000 every year. I don't, right? So I tend to sometimes I hold it back. If the economy is very good, I just hold it back because I have enough painting to promote local art now, right? So I just hold it back. But when the times are bad for the gallery and the artists, it can be for example, this year is a very bad year. Right, the artists kind of like complaining, say that this year don't know what happened, nobody buy art. I know the reason now. First, in the first half of the year, the market was no good, right? Then it start to recover, right? When you recover, first half of the year market no good, nobody buy art. Then second half of the year, the market is a bit better. People also don't buy art. I say I buy investment first, I buy art later. So this year is naturally a bad year. So these are the year that we can allocate our funds. So that so as a patron, I think if you think deeper into how you want to maximize the value of your fund, I think you need to understand the economic cycle as well. And then you also need to, as I said, support the correct artists so that you don't mislead certain artists to think that they are extremely talented, and then they go down that road wasting 10 to 15 years of their time, then to realize that I'm not suitable to be an artist. Yeah, I think that is what as a patron is, you have to be responsible as well.
So, back to what we were mentioning before. I think it's a very interesting insight to think about being a patron of art, because of the fact that most people think that to support the artists, we buy when we get to see the artist. Like, so the artist on exhibition, we buy from artists, we support artists. Right. But nobody thinks about the fact that what if this very good artist doesn't have the money to join, like let's say a artist alley or like an exhibition. Yeah. And being a patron requires you to sustain the artist during downtime. So my next question for you being a patron is, how would I go about, let's say I have money, right? And I, like you, have many pieces of art that is enough to explain to people, these are the people that I think are worth supporting. If you happen to see them in the thing, but by all means, support them. But there are also people who are on the down and down, right? And they are worthy of being supported. How do the common people go help this kind of artists? Because they struggle, they don't shout and struggle on what. Correct. Struggling artists struggle alone.
Correct. I think it's in life, right, it's a big number games, right? Oh. I can't be. I'm not like the monkey god. I can split myself into that person, right? So, we just, I always tell my kid if you see someone in need, you help. If you don't see, then something happen, you don't blame yourself, right? Because you can't be everywhere. That's the truth of life, right? So there's also a certainty of a certain thing. I would say that some artists is predestined to be successful. Some artists just predestined to fail even they are talented. Right. So we can't be everywhere, basically. Yeah. Just whoever you see and then you think that you can help, you help. So that's why education is important, right? So what we are trying to do here today is try to encourage everybody and more eyes to look out for all these people and help them. Yeah.
So how does the budgeting in the grand scheme of things look like? Do I have like 50% of just promoting and sustaining current popular ones to make sure that our scene continues, and the other one is considered really fun? How do you know whether or not this time is to buy into up and coming, or is it to like help sustain, I would say, the previous generation's cream of the crop?
So for example, right, I state that I have a budget, right? Like assuming it's 50,000, but it does not mean that, I already say it does not mean that I have to spend the 50,000 this year, right? I keep it for some other years as well, but also does not mean that I cannot bring forward the expenditure. Right. Let's say I have a 10-year time frame, right? So it's 50,000 times 10 is 500,000. I can bring forward certain purchase. So you were asking, I would classify it as what kind of portfolio of art that we should be holding, and what kind of portfolio should we be spending, like the scale of the spending in a different time frame, right? So I would say that being a responsible patron again, right, you have to think many steps ahead. So one of the steps is basically a portfolio allocation. So you need to have 80% of the art in things that you will not lose money. Why do you need that? Because that's also the one that will generate certain return for you to sustain the effort. If one day your cash flow rise up, right, then you can slowly sell one painting at a time to continue sustaining that initiative. So I think 80% you need to make sure that it's secured and it kind of generate returns to continue sustaining that 20%. So that 20% you will use to support the new and emerging artists. Yeah. So everything in life is about the 80-20 rules. I'm sure y'all heard so many times.
This one important because I think nowadays, especially the new kids will be like, oh, this art and coloring artist nice. Then we just thumb 500, 600, right? We never really budget about the fact that we don't know where this money goes. We don't know whether it supports this artist, which is great. But I feel that having like a framework that we can educate the kids, be like, okay, so 80% sustainable thing, I think it's a good thing to like teach, because sometimes investing in art feels like a very deep ocean, and your heart can be set and you'll be like, in 10 years time I want to buy this piece of art, but I would rather you in your 10 years time slowly like dividend out what you're intending for and eventually get to a place where the support they've rendered is 10 years worth of support. Interesting.
Yeah.
Back 50 years ago, Singaporean artists fight Singaporean artists. Now they fight international artists. And the people with big money would usually think about it like what you say, 80% has to be sustainable finance. So naturally, a name that is local will not have the same fiscal value as international artist who is up and coming or popular. How do we then justify, let's say like, okay, my wife says, you can have your money to invest in art, but can you make a sound financial decision? The sound financial decision should be to buy the international one because my secondary market would be the world.
Correct.
Right? So how do I justify that to anyone who is trying to invest in local art then?
So if you think about from an industry perspective, I'm not talking about art industry. I'm talking about, say, semicon industry.
Oh, okay.
Let that deviate a bit,
Okay.
So you need huge capital investment, right? So in the past, our government realized that. So we are a small country. We do not have that demand, right? But we can create the manufacturing part of it and make it cost efficient. So we come up with a lot of subsidies, free land for them to build factory, tax deduction. So then we create an efficient ecosystem for semiconductor, and that's where we are today. We got a lot of semiconductor factory in Singapore. Right. So the same thing that go for art, right? If you think we don't have enough demand for art in Singapore to make it valuable. So for example, if I promote a Chinese artist in China, right? And he can only produce, let's say, 100 pieces of art every year. The 100 pieces of art is not enough for the China market.
Right. Yep.
It's totally not enough because of the population, right? In Singapore, if you're an artist that produce 100 pieces, right? If only Singaporean want it, then it's too much supply also, right? So we need an international market. So, but before you have that international market, you need a local demand.
Okay.
If the wealthy don't even buy your own local art and then you buy foreign art, then it's a sad thing, right?
I understand. Let me paint the picture the way I see it from what I've just learned. So, Singaporeans like efficiency and the system, okay? We cannot just tell them, go and preserve your culture. Here's how we do it the Singaporean style. Let's export this like a main product. And the byproduct is because you keep exporting it, somehow, some way, our culture is going to get preserved because we have to push out 500 because the international demand is 500. I think it's a very smart way moving forward because it's very hard to tell people, hey, you want to go and draw the Dragon Playground. Like, we have seen a Dragon Playground draw 1,000 times. Nobody's going to draw more Dragon Playgrounds. But if somehow we manage to export our culture externally, right? And then we're like, okay, everybody loves Singaporean playgrounds. The Dragon Playground will be one of the playgrounds we export. And therefore, it gets archived. I think that's a very interesting concept that's never thought about in Singapore.
Yeah. So I think that's why education is very important.
Can I petition for president?
Yeah. That's so interesting.